Okay, guys, let's talk about the law of compensation. I'm going to break down these three with a little bit of explanation for you. So there's three things that drive our compensation. The first one, as you saw, is the need. The second one is our ability. And the third one is replaceability. So the short version of this, the need, our ability, and replaceability. The need for what we do. All right, think about a bank right now. You walk into a bank probably at least once a week, if not more so. And right now there's a job at the bank that's called a teller, and that's that friendly little person, hopefully they're friendly, that stands behind the counter and processes your paperwork and your money and hands you a receipt. And so there's a need for a bank teller. Now, how big is that need? Well, it's huge, right? Because every person on the planet probably has a bank account if they make any money, and they need a place to transact that money, or a good percentage of them. So the need serves billions of people worldwide, and that's why there's banks all over the place. And yet the ability to do that job is set at a certain level. For instance, how someone becomes a teller and takes whatever that may be, $25,000 or $30,000 a year in salary, their ability to do that, to process the paperwork, to get the numbers right, to do that, is required at a certain level. Their ability to be friendly in customer service is required at a certain level. But there's a saying in business that says good enough is good enough. And here's where there's some misunderstanding. A lot of times we're in a job or we're in a vehicle where the better we get, the less it matters. You see, I met a teller the other day that was extremely effective and efficient. It was the fastest I've ever gotten in and out of a bank. The receipts were right. She was smiling the entire time. She treated me amazingly. She used my name. She was a star. But she's making the same as the person who was teller for me the week before that could barely tie their own shoes. I was in there 10 minutes and it was argumentative almost. And you say, well, how could that be? Because the need is huge, but the need is, and the ability to fill that need is just as efficiently done now by machines that are ATMs with deposits and things like that. And there's a customer service requirement, but going above and beyond that does not necessarily translate, in the bank's opinion, into higher value of that customer. It's a very transactional type component of their business, and so the need only has to be so much. So my friend the other day that was a rock star will never be compensated in that position larger than she is right now, not because she's not worth more somewhere else, but because that position only requires a certain level of ability, and anything above that is superfluous. So that leads us to number 3, replaceability. How difficult or easy is it to replace you? Let's go back to my rock star bank teller again to round out this example. She was amazing, but the bank can continue to operate at its current level of profitability and even grow with someone who's good enough. And so the ability to replace her with someone at $30,000 a year who's not as bubbly, good, or as efficient, but isn't horrible, is very high. The easier it is to replace us and get to the same level of competency, the less money you and I will earn. The more difficult it is to replace us, to replace our spirit, to replace our energy, to replace our impact on sales, revenue, profitability, leadership, management, the more difficult it is, the more money you will make if you're in the right vehicle. Start to assess these 3 things, pick the right vehicle, and then get great at filling the need that that vehicle is in, and then become very difficult to replace, and you will be wealthy beyond your dreams.